What is up, everybody? This is the 1018 Behind the Badge live stream podcast show. I am your host, Prince Blue, and of course, with my partner in crime, my co-host, my main man. He's not even my co-host. He's my AB host, my man Jay Steppe. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you for your continued support us. Without y'all, none of this will be possible. Thank you for giving up your Sunday for the next hour. I mean, not your
Sunday.
Sunday, but your Wednesday for the next hour with me. I got my other show in my head. Thank you all for joining us. What is going on? What's up, Step?
Loving it, man. I had to throw in a little long sleeve after the weather today. Got spoiled laying at the pool yesterday, 85-degree weather. And now it's, I'm pretty sure I saw some snowflakes coming down. So.
Did you put on sunblock yesterday?
You know what? I didn't, and I'm hiding it, but my head's pilling. I fell asleep, man. I'm like, all right, I got 5 minutes out here. If I start to burn, I'll fall asleep, and I wake up, and half my face is burned off and dripping down, and
So I know, Michelle. I got Sunday show in my head, so that's why I said Sunday. I mix it. Michelle, don't be hard on me, please. Give me a.
It is still kind of like a church night, right? A lot of people go to church on Wednesday nights.
Hey, listen.
Yeah.
If it works, that's how you cover for you. That's how you cover for me.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
You had church in mind, so it's Wednesday night, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because we support the church. You know what I'm saying? So Jay, I figured with this show, man, we're gonna have some fun, man, because everything has been so doom and gloom, and contrary to popular belief, media, whatever else you want to say, there is some good things that's going on out there.
Yep, you're right.
So I figured we start with let's start with some positive police stories. Like, people always love stories. People always love police telling like their funny stories. You know, the stories when we sit around a roll call, we tell them, and it really is the chance that not only does it make people laugh, but it also helps us get over some things, because sometimes, and let me tell you something about police. Police have the worst humor on the planet, because some of the things that might be like, oh my God, that's god awful. How can you laugh about that? We have to.
Yeah.
Or we'll go insane. Am I right?
No, you go crazy. As morbid as it sounds, you have to find light, even if it's inappropriate. But you can't dwell on the stuff we see and deal with, So yeah, you're right. So what's funny is I'm thinking of some of the practical jokes we play on each other, man. If what's great is when somebody leaves their car running unlocked. What do we do? A lot of times hey, distract them, we'll jump in the car and move the car, and they come back and like, where's our car? They think it got stolen. Like, we better call Sarge. Or we used to put like pepper spray on the door handle, and then so when they officers would open the door, and then their eyes start watering, and they wipe their face off, and so we used to play. You have to be careful you play. Sometimes people get pissed off, crash their car, but we're just practical jokers, man. If it's messing with food or all kinds of things, having like taking the rookies to like a fake body, and telling just I mean, we used to do. We have a good time, and you, to your point, you have to, because if not, you're just.
Michelle said, unlatching the laptop so it can slide all over.
Oh, it happened, yeah. So I had my shotgun one time. Somebody left it unlatched, and when I hit the brakes, the shotgun came down and hit the computer screen right in the middle and just cracked the whole laptop. So change. My guys. I was notorious for leaving my door unlocked in the parking lot, and when I was over CRU in Steel Creek, and those guys would go in and change the screensaver. So I'd get in the car one time, and there'd be like Stephen Hasselholt from Baywatch with his shirt off, pressed up against. So, and I was like, I didn't know how to change, so I just left it up there. People, some cool things, or You know, we had a good time, man, and that's what brings camaraderie. Same thing like in the military. If you care about each other, you play practical jokes. How do you make how the job is so serious that you can't be serious all the time, and there are people that are, and they're miserable. Those are the assholes and stuff, but you can't take yourself serious. Oh yeah, this is great. I've actually got a. So
Go ahead.
I think the statute of limitations passed, so I could actually release this. But don't tell. I'm pretty sure Lieutenant Hummel, who just sent me a text, was my lieutenant. But so I was over CRU, and we thought it would be funny, and we put a sex blow-up doll in the back of the officer's car, thinking that when they go to check it out, they would find it, right? So full-size sex doll, had a little hole in the mouth. I don't know what that's for, but it had all the bells and whistles. It was the top model. So we put in the back of the SUV, in the back seat, and we didn't hear anything on the radio. We have a private, talk like car to car, nothing. So like a couple hours goes by, and we're all just, have they not noticed this thing in the back of the car? So they drive around for a few hours in this car, where apparently they get out with fire and medic, and they have to give a guy a courtesy ride. So fire opens the door to the back of the police car to let this guy in who's like drunk or high, and there's a sex doll laying in the back. He got like, you motherfuckers. I've got to actually have a picture of this. So we named it Ursula. So and then of course the officer, we put it in an officer's car that would appreciate the most, and he started. Here it is. He started stabbing it. So if you can see, let me So that was Ursula in the back of a black patrol car. So for hours, no telling how many times they were stopped at the red light and they see Ursula in the back of the car. But that's just another example that
that was before body cams, right? Thank God.
Yeah.
Because remember, you have to use your body cam now when you search your vehicle.
Yeah, and we really expected them to find it at the initial search. It'd be like, what the hell, But it was we were like, oh, it's been hours, bro. We're like, oh, that was great.
I don't even want to know what happened in those hours. Why it took them so long to report the damn thing in the back seat. But so I got one. One time I came to roll call, and of course I went to check my car. I turned it on, and I had to run back in for some. I'm a young rookie, don't know any better. I came back out, car's gone. So
yeah,
how do you tell somebody that your car is gone from in front of the 7-Eleven? How do you radio that in?
Like, yeah.
So I'm like, I'm fired.
Do I tell somebody? Do I just go get another one? They all look alike. Do I just jump in another one, or?
How do you tell somebody your car was stolen while you went in getting a Slurpee and a honey bun? Like, how do you report that? So one of the old guys, they was like, "Hey, Blue, how's car?" I forgot what car number it was, but they was like, "How's car? Whatever." On a private channel, and I was like, they was like, "Blue, come get your damn car. It's around the corner." So I went to go get it, and he was like, "Don't ever leave your car running, especially."
That's how we taught people. They'd be on. We'd get in the car and move it, and they'd panic.
But I need you to picture me coming outside, Slurpee in one hand, honey bun in the other, and no car. Like,
and you'd be like, "This ain't a parking deck. It's not like I forgot where I parked." You'd be like, "It's got to be right here." There's 10 options.
God, man.
Yeah,
we're like, I remember a story about a pizza being ordered to a crime scene.
Yeah. I remember Daniel Kellogg. I call him Kellogg. So he gave a story at his retirement party. He's retired now, so I can say it. He was vice, just a great dude. And apparently he got hungry. So they were on a homicide scene. So he's like, well, I ordered me Domino's. So he picked up, his cell phone, probably like this back then, and ordered up 1-800 Domino's and had pizza delivered to the crime scene. His supervisor didn't appreciate that much, but they, you got to do what you got to do. You get hungry. A lot of times you get stuck at crime, you don't get to eat.
We don't.
And there's another incident. I call him Bozart. Well, that's actually I call him Bozart. His name's Bozart. So I was in a apartment complex. I had my windows down, and this is before we had the maps and stuff on the computer. So I had a GPS because I could never find my way around. So I had a GPS stuck in the window. So I went in to take a call as an assault or something. I came back out and my GPS was missing. Somebody stole my GPS. I was so pissed off, and being, new to, lad on from Union County, I was like, I'm going to call ICE and have them come down here and just better tell me who took my GPS. It was an officer. So I'm showing my ass, acting like a fool, and getting pissed off, thinking somebody broke in my car and stole my GPS, and it was another officer took it to teach me a lesson. So
I remember we got a bad echo. Hold on. Do you hear that echo?
No, you're good on my end.
I do. Okay.
All right. Well, I remember it's still an echo. Do you have something up?
Mm-mm. Everything's through here.
I don't know where that echo's coming from. It's like really bad. Hold on.
Mm-mm. I don't hear anything. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
I got you now.
It's like a real bad echo.
Somebody message if they could hear it. Can you hear it on the viewers end?
It's driving me crazy. I don't know where the echo's coming. Can you still hear the echo?
Mm-mm. Can you hear when I talk?
I can hear you, but it's like a bad echo, and I don't know where it's coming from, and it's driving me crazy. Okay, I don't hear it anymore. Okay, but anyway, I'm sorry, y'all. But got a call that there was a lady that she was robbed, and I get there, and it's just she's about 70 years old, and she's at the ATM machine, and she's like, I want to file a report. I was like, go ahead, ma'am. You want to file a report? You was being robbed? Well, you know what they look like, what happened. She was like, well, my social security check came today, and the ATM won't let me get any money out. Bless her heart. She's in her 70s, so I can't be like, ma'am, like, what? She was like, yeah, I got a check today, and I'm trying to get money out the ATM, and it won't let me get money out. So, come to find out, she put in her passcode too many times wrong, and it locked her out. So I had to actually pick her up. I mean, I had to take her to the bank so she could get it fixed. And I waited for her, and then she got everything together. They fixed it for her and everything. But that's just one of the type of calls you get as a police officer, and you can't believe it, but they're expecting you to have an answer. Like,
Yeah.
and no matter how crazy it is, like they want you to give them results. So
Yeah, and that's it's not all going to robberies and shootings and foot chases. A lot of the calls are like that, and it's just being a decent human being, to care enough to, like, you could have told her, hey, that's not a police issue, see you later, bye. But what are you going to do? I mean, just think, the way I looked at it, this could be my grandmother, right, or my mom, or my age, my sister. So I'm just, but what are we going to do? What would we want to do? The worst thing, I told you before, the worst thing we could tell people as officers is, I can't do anything for you. If it's not a police issue, that's fine. But give them hey, if I were you, this is what I'd do. I'd call this person, or this person, call department of management or whatever. Give them a solution. That's what they're looking for. And I'll give you an incident of one time we got a repeat call for service. 1073 is police code for crazy person. So this person was legit, had some psychological issues, right? So as well as me, if we go there, hey, he's calling saying his house is haunted and aliens are trying to abduct him, right? So a lot of times those people believe that. They believe it. There's no talking them out of it. They think that someone's following them. They're paranoid. So you almost have to play along with them. So I got I remember I got the Acra sensor, and I went through the house to scan it for bugs and ghosts, and it showed zeros. And I showed them. I said, hey, I've scanned your house. I think us coming here scared them off, and there's zero ghosts or whatever his complaint was in the house. And that ended the calls for service. So just play it into this person's, it's sad mental health crisis, but they believe it, and there's no going there and be like, hey, there's nothing. They're convinced. So you have to play into it and get creative of how you handle it. But you kind of have a laugh afterwards, like that was creative or something. But it's same thing with yours. It's not we didn't go there and be like, hey, it's not a police issue, because what happens? They keep calling for service, and that might be the only time that lady called 911. She didn't know what else to do. Her husband could be dead, or she had no family members. She didn't know what to do. So look, let's point in the right direction, give her some advice, and that that means a lot.
I absolutely agree, and it's just one of those things to where people get stuck on like TV and stuff. Like, you come out to the homicide calls, the sexual assault calls, and things like that. But a lot of police work is just you talking with people. Like I've legit had people say, I'm lonely, my wife passed, I don't,
Yeah.
nobody comes around, nobody wants to talk anymore. And you go out for service and you talk to them a little bit, and have a conversation with them, and then you're done with it.
Yeah.
And those are the stories that people don't see that we do. All they get is the sensational ones, the ones that will make you be like, oh my God. But it's legit, out of to every homicide, there's about 20 funny stories where you're just interacting with the community and you're just talking to them. And like Ballard says here, it's hashtag community policing, and she's correct. But you know what's funny? Before all the hashtags and everything, before putting a name on something, that's what we did. It didn't get a cute name like community policing or citizens on patrol or any of that acronyms you want to put with it, because for the most part, police just did what they had to do. But again, when you get the stuff that really rouse people up, those are the things that hangs with people, and that's the stuff that people want to hold on to. Like, I've seen people that have had nothing but great encounters with police get swept up in the whole anti-police movement, the whole we should all hate cops. And I'm like, but wait a minute, like, that would be like my wife out there picketing for police, anti-police. I'm like, but wait a minute, you're married to me. That's sometimes how you see like people that I'm like, dog, you know who I am. You know what I'm about. So you out here talking about some F the police and do this and do that when but it's so funny that people are afraid to say, hey, yes, what X did was horrible, but I promise you, there are some good ones out there that's doing it right. It's nothing now. That's become a whole like when you say that, oh, you against your own people. Oh, you for police brutality. No, that doesn't mean that. That means everybody has a separate story.
Yeah.
Like everybody's different.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, go ahead.
Well, no, we have, like any other profession, we have to judge individual officers, and if there's a huge problem in a department, that's one thing, but very rarely, there's been incidents like New Orleans in the 90s and the gang unit in LA in the late 90s, where their whole group's dirty, right? So it happens, but for the most part, man, I mean, like we talked many times before, if there's a bad cop, we don't want to be associated with them, and we'll call them out because we want them gone. And doing those little things, like you said, for these calls for service, going the extra mile, sometimes if it's changing a tire for somebody, that's, or helping them get unlocked from their vehicle, or just making a phone call for them, or just something, it goes a long ways in that. Like I would always tell my guys, hey, remember to remember to just treat people, like I said earlier, like they're your family members, and that's their first contact with police. So we have to, so this is the first time I call the police. What's my first impression, right? Do you want to be an asshole and be like, I can't do anything for you? I got, donuts to eat. No, you have to do it. And doing those little things make a big difference. And people appreciate it. And they remember you. Be nice to people. Be nice to that person who's underprivileged and homeless. Say hi to them. The people on the street, they remember you.
I'm glad you said that, Jay, because I'm pretty sure you've had this too. We've all had that homeless person that you just know and you deal with. Remember in Eastway, what was his name? God rest his soul.
Who passed away?
He got struck by a car. What was his name?
Chili Willie.
Chili Willie.
Yeah.
Chili Willie, sweetest man. Yes, he could drink, but Chili Willie, good God, great guy, fantastic. Just talk with him. Like sometimes, like we would get calls about Chili Willie, and instead of me saying, I'm gonna lock you up, Chili Willie, what's going on? I'm hungry, man. Let me get something to eat, man. And I would much rather get Chili Willie something to eat and don't have to worry about him for the rest of the night than lock him up, talk bad to him, try to be a butt to him.
He a lot of people don't know he used to run with outlaws, and he always said that there was a major or something. Every time you'd see him, he said, "Do you know my nephew or whatever?" God, who was it?
Yeah,
he said,
my nephew, the
Major Willis, or I don't remember who it was, but yeah, he could be a little obnoxious when he's drunk. But if you treat these people with respect, so I got a couple questions for you, Blue.
Go ahead.
All right, this came from one of our favorite sergeants over there. It said, ask Blue about the time he almost got creamed by a patrol car while practicing stop sticks. Nicknamed Speed Bump. What's that about? What? I don't know if I heard that.
I would kill him.
Okay. You know who that's from.
Okay, so we're at the academy, right? And the stop sticks you throw out when there's a high speed pursuit to flatten tires. So Sarge said the one thing you never want to do is if you throw the stop sticks and they leave your hand, don't run out and go get them.
All right.
So,
all right.
So they're doing the high speed chase. They're like, Officer Blue, we need stop sticks on Central and Allen. I throw the stop sticks and I just forget you got to hold on to them to bring them down, right? So I just throw all the stop sticks in the middle of the street. Then I'm like, oh crap. And I proceed to run and get the stop sticks. And the whole class is up on the balcony And they're like, no, Blue, don't go in front of the car. And this starts, he's like, ah! And then I kid you not, he like leans over the steering wheel, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. 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 He's gonna get out and put me like in a rear naked choke and kill me. And he just gets out of the car and he's like, Blue, get the stop sticks and do it over. And he gets back in the car and they do it again. And from that moment on, my name was Stop Sticks. I almost got ran over on an enclosed environment for high speed pursuits. That just doesn't happen. So
I've got another
yeah,
one
go ahead.
From B-Man Bourbon. So Bourbon, ask Blue about the time he found a very large something in somebody's trench coat.
Okay.
Tell us about it. What happened?
So me and this officer got a call. There was a bad prostitution issue in on the plaza area. And me and this officer got a call about a prostitute that's been walking up and down the street soliciting, and they're tired of it. So we get out with this prostitute, and I'm like, hey, what are you doing out here? We keep getting calls on you. You got to get away. The person just walking away from us, not listening to us, not giving us any feedback. So I'm like, you know what? I'm sick of this. Like, come on, you're going. We're going to go ahead and take you in. And we go to grab the person, and the person's like, ah, bah, bah, ah, bah, ah. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is she saying? What is she saying? So I'm like, ah, bah, bah, ah, bah, bah. I'm like, what the fuck? So number one, she is not a she is a he. So we arrest the person and we go to put them in the car, right? And then all I think I know is we get flashed with this pink. I don't know what it was. It was pink. And I turned to the officer and he's like, "That's a duh, duh, duh." I'm like, a dildo? He's like, yeah. She has a dildo between her legs. So I'm like, oh shit. So we both knew. We called Sarge. We're like, hey Sarge, we about to take this prostitute downtown, and she got a dildo between her legs. She got a strap on between her legs. And Sarge, just as cool as the day, he said, well, it's gonna have to be removed before she go to jail. So me and Pete, me and the officer, we like, yo, I ain't touching that shit. He like, I ain't touching it either. So the whole time we driving to the thing, and I'm like, Pete, yo, I ain't touching it, man. He's like, I ain't touching that shit either. How we gonna get her to take it off? Like, I don't know. So we finally get down there, and then
have the deputies do it.
We go to the back of the thing, and we like, all right, this is what we gonna do. We gonna tell him that he got to find some way to get that thing off without being out of handcuffs. All right, break. So we go to him and we like, we like, listen, don't give me that shit. Get rid of the dildo. So we take him out the car and he opens the trench coat and he just does his little shimmy and it just drops on the ground. And I'm like, God damn. And I'm like, what else you got?
Show us again. What did he do? Show us again. How did he do?
He does his little shimmy and it just falls on the ground. I'm like, it ain't even the right damn color. How the hell you got a pink dildo on? But anyway, so we're looking and I'm like, all right, what else you got? And he's like, ah, goes to his shirt and then drops 2 water balloons out of his shirt and it falls to the ground, splash. And I'm like, I think I'm gonna quit tonight, Pete. I can't do it. Like this is it. This is it for me. So we had to turn in a dildo into evidence.
To property control.
To property control. Like, how do you put dildo on a property sheet?
That's
item.
That's a side of stuff that,
dildo.
like, it didn't make it on cops. But you have to deal with
Item, dildo,
color pink,
pink,
size.
quantity, 1,
What's the dimension?
size.
What's the dimensions?
I don't know. But yeah, that was the day we arrested Transgender Mute. You can't make this shit up. You can't make it up.
So there's no way to know what the pronoun is if
Listen, it was one of the letters. I just added M for mute. I guess. Listen, don't get me. Don't upset the alphabet. But I was me and that officer was very professional, and we told that transgender mute to listen. This ain't it. We don't want to see you no more on this side of town. And we never saw that person ever again. We didn't have to go to court for that. Because I honestly believe that the magistrate was like, what the f- is this? Like, I don't even know what to charge this person with. I was like, me either. But we had to turn in a pink dildo to property, so you better figure out
we
something.
had complaint numbers. Maybe some found property numbers for a
Well, pink
1094 pink.
I'm telling you, these are the stories. Oh, and let me finish telling you. We got another story. We got a B&E call at a church. So we get there, and the guy is out the window, and he's like, "Motherfucker, if y'all want me to get out this church, y'all better fucking come and get me." Headquarters start K9. So K9 comes. We're standing outside. It's me and another officer. I'm not gonna say her name, but she's no longer with the department. And she was terrified of dogs in the academy. Terrified. So we're at the front door together, and she's like, "Blue, I can't go in there and search for K9. Can you do it?" I'm like, "All right, I'll do it." So we're clearing corners. We're like, So he's down in the basement. So it's these old crickety basement in the church. So I start walking down the steps, and like on cartoons where you hear something when it's about to collapse.
Yeah.
So one officer went down, then I go down behind him. All you hear is, and I'm like, "What's that?" And I just fall through the church steps
Shut
right
up.
to the bottom. Soot and wood and everything on top of me. The damn dog looks at me like, like,
Scooby-Doo, like what? Everybody just stops, like what?
"You okay, Waggy?" Like I'm all, I got soot, I got everything on me. But the best thing about it is, how they teach you in the academy, never keep your finger on the trigger. Keep your finger off the trigger until you're ready. I promise you, if my finger was on the trigger when I fell through those steps, I would have shot probably the dog, the officer in front of me. Like something would have went bad. So that was, thinking back on it, I was like, man, thank God I had good training, good discipline, because something that little, like you would have never been able to believe that. 5 officers shot, no suspect.
Yeah.
Like, how does that
Sympathetic
happen?
fire.
Well, Officer Blue, so man, I'm just telling everybody, man, when you as a police officer, you get so many stories, so many things that define your career or stick with you, even to this day. Like you just got text messages about those stories. Those stories stick with people. Like getting a dildo off a transgender mute, that sticks to you.
Yeah.
Beth, Bethany Prentice says, "How do you pretend there's a canine on scene?"
Yep, Bethany. So she owns a dog. It's a highly trained Doberman Pinscher. So it was my buddy. It's my buddy's sister, and more than one time, running after suspects, we bark. We're gonna. We've done it. And a lot of times it works. So either you bark or you yell canine. And we'll say, "Hey, we're seeing the dog," and start, woof, a deep bark. And a lot of times it puts them in midbrain. They're not sure and they surrender. I've done it. My buddy, Buckler and some of these other guys have done it, and it's effective. When you're chasing somebody, because a lot of the time people don't understand. We have 30 pounds of gear. So you're running, and so you're, And I'm not very fast. I look like a
Like
fast water.
T-1000, the
Yeah,
Terminator.
So I'm like this. So you got to try. If you're yelling at my, hey, I'll shoot you if you don't stop, and that doesn't work because they know we can't shoot them. And then like I'm going to send. Here comes K9. And you bark, and sometimes that it works. So you pull out all the trade, and then I had one of my guys. He's a sergeant now in another division. He's a really good officer I worked with. We would always be head to head with use of the force. Sometimes I think I always led use of the force, but usually he was with me when we were getting use of the force. But we were chasing, I think it was a jump and run from 87, which is a stolen vehicle. We're running through the neighborhoods, and we're all trying to climb over this privacy fence or whatever, and he just runs right through it. And it worked, He's like a bulldog, man. So
people don't understand, like, these are, to be a police officer, firefighter, paramedic, like to run into situations with you have regard for your safety, but at the end of the day, it's about the person you're trying to help. That takes a special type of person. Like, most people would be like, I ain't going in there. I ain't dealing with that. I don't know what he has in that house. I'm not going in there. We don't have the luxury of doing
don't have
that.
a choice. I mean, it's like
We have to be safe about it and tactical.
Yeah.
But SWAT don't come out for everything.
No. If ever, I mean, very rarely, especially now that they get it deployed. But I mean, how many times have you had to do something and be like, this is going to suck? Being like, you're like, but you just have to take a deep breath and go through the door and hope that things work out well. And that's why the humor is so important to offset that.
To decompress.
So you play the jokes and you play, and there's a lot of camaraderie. A lot of it's like high school. You have cliques and you have people beefing. It's not all hunky dory, like you think it would be. You have different personalities, different that mesh or don't mesh. So you have cliques, but overall, at the end of the day, if I might not be a fan of Officer XYZ, but if he needs help, I'm going. And because he's, at the end of the day, he's my brother or sister in blue, and we take care of each other. So you throw personality conflicts out the window, disagreements. When they need help, you step up and go. That's what makes this profession unique and just an awesome. I'm blessed to have been, to be able to be part of that society, or profession for 21 years. So.
Absolutely. And now let's talk about some of the perks of being a police officer. And I thought this was a very important topic because, yes, there are perks to being a police officer. Like, there's perks to any job. Like, when I used to work at Foot Locker, one of the perks was you got 30% off on any purchase.
Sure, yeah.
When I worked at McDonald's, you got 70% off on any food that you order. Like, it's perks, people. Now, you just got to make sure those perks are within the rules and not malicious or not harming anybody else. But let's go back and forth. Name one perk that you loved about being a police officer, Jay.
A lot of places, free coffee.
You're a coffee drinker.
Coffee. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You have to, man. You go Circle K. What's that? Most of these places, sometimes Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts. A lot of times it'd be free.
How many times have you been in line and you're about to pay for something and they're like, "Oh, it's already been taken care of"?
Yeah, it's happened. So a lot of people they think it's unethical. So the only time it becomes a problem is if they expect something in return. So,
correct.
So like if I go to Chick-fil-A, a lot of times Chick-fil-A's were good about giving us half off for free meals. Different restaurants would take care of us. And people they were worried about the ethic issue, but I'm like, the way the policy is written, as long as they're not saying, "Hey, I'll give you this if you take care of this thing." Of course, we wouldn't and shouldn't do that. But if they're that, they give military discounts. A lot of times they give perks for police officers for coffee or food, which helps out because we have to eat out. We don't get to go home unless you live in a district where you're close to. You don't get to go home and make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You have to eat out. A lot of times it's eat on the you pick it up and go, or you just stuff it down, and you learn how to eat fast.
And that's part of my problem. That's why I got diabetes now.
Yeah,
Eating fast. But I got one story about free drinks. So, police, if you go into, Circle K or whatever, you get a drink, like they giving you the head nod, like, or we just fill it up and we walk out. Well, one day I had bought something else, so I was in line with my drink. So he was like, "You good on the drink, Officer Blue, but that'll be whatever amount for the other thing that I bought." And then I walked out. This special police was behind me, and he was trying to walk out with the drink, and he was like, "That'll be $2.94." And special police was like, "Oh man, my wallet in the car. Hold on." He put the drink on the counter and got in his car and drove. I'm like, come on, man. Like, I don't know what it is about special police. Like, listen, I get it. Hey, listen, I don't job shame. You do what you do, special police. Shout out to you, but come on. Like, you can't act like that with the badge. Come on, man.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. And you hear stories about people abusing it, like they ruin it, like going to Chick-fil-A 3 times a day or ordered for their family to take it home, and that's when we get burnt and they abuse it. So what we would try to do is minimize it. So if we knew that A, B, and C gave us discounted free meals, what we would do is we would stagger them, one per week or something. We wouldn't go to a place daily.
yeah.
So you have to appreciate it. They have a tip jar, leave a tip. Be appreciative because it pays off. So you do get saved money, certain places, and a lot of times we would go places that would give us discounts just because it'd get really expensive. Cops, we don't make a fortune.
No. And the thing is, like, when people be like, "Oh, see, they take a bribe, No, a bribe, like you said, they have to want us to give them something in return.
Yeah.
And most of the time, they don't be wanting anything. They just be thankful for our presence. How many times just us walking in a store clears a guy out from stealing something?
Oh, yeah.
From robbing a place? You never know. Listen, we're not Spider-Man. You have to train your senses. Your senses come from experience. Like, I'm pretty sure it's been sometimes we've walked in or drove up and somebody was getting ready to rob the place, but they see us and they're like, "Yeah, today ain't the day." Or they see 4 police cars at the QT and they're like, "Yeah, this one won't be getting hit tonight." Like, these people, it be one clerk overnight. You don't think he appreciate police being there? And no, we're not just there just to get drinks, stuff like that. You legit build relationships with the businesses on your route. Like,
and those are the people that they know. They're like the barber shops and the Circle K's. They know what's going on. People go in there and talk, and they hear people, and utilize them. Hey, be like, "Have you heard? Have you seen this person? Have you heard?" And they'll talk to you. But you build that relationship. You should with almost any business that you come into. One time it was a funny story. I'm horrible with I know this person, I don't know where. So me and a guy, he was my lieutenant at the time. He's the captain in Metro now. Good dude. We walk into Circle K off Red Roof off Nations Ford, and we're sitting there to get a cup of coffee. And he's like, "Hey, do you recognize that dude?" I'm like, no. I mean, should I? I mean, I don't know. I mean, he recognized him from a bolo. This is a lieutenant, recognized him from a bolo that we had for a wanted person. We're in there getting coffee, and we were able to make it a felony arrest based, sergeant and lieutenant, based on I didn't remember. I didn't recognize the guy, but he did. But it gets that person out of the store, and you're because usually if you go in there to get a drink, you're hanging out for a few minutes, right? You're taking a breath, going to the bathroom,
Mm-hmm.
washing your hands. So you're there for 10, 15 minutes, kind of until you get the next call. And that's a big deterrent. Just having a police car outside is nice for the business. It's free security, because places have to pay. I don't know what's the off duty right now, like 50 bucks an hour or something.
What? That's what it is now?
I think so. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't do off duty, but
that goes to another perk. Well, everybody didn't have it like you, John. But
yeah.
I did off duty a lot. And one of the perks of doing off duty was the networking and the people you meet. For those who don't know, in Charlotte, Midnight Diner is probably top 3 in Charlotte. Doesn't mean top 3 food, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But top spot to hang out is where you go. I've met everybody from Cam Newton to Roland Martin to rappers walking in there, wrestlers walking out. I met Braun Strowman. Like you meet a lot of people in these places when you do off duty, or I've done concerts at the Bojangles Arena.
Yep.
You see rappers and stuff like that. Like you meet a lot, and you'll be surprised. The people you thinking is like blah 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 blah, they strike conversations with you.
Oh yeah.
They talk with you. They be like, "Hey, officer, how you doing? Like, what's going on? What's new? Blah 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 blah." And these are people that quote unquote hardcore, that their lyrics are out there, and they're like, "Hey, like I respect what you do. Like you got my Bentley protected right now. Blah 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 blah." So, and I say that to tell people, like, all these people that's out here shouting anti-police, this and that, this and that, this and that. It sounds good, but when stuff go wrong, best believe 911 is on speed dial.
Yeah.
Because it just is what it is. So my second perk would be the networking, the people that you meet, the experiences that you get. I met Derek Coleman. I've taken pictures with, hell, I've met I did a with the Fry brothers. I did the it was a motor speedway type event with motorcycles and stuff. And the Fry brothers, they go around and do those type of venues. It was Hell's Angels, Outlaws, everybody in there. And I remember it was an outlaw, and he had a probie with him. And the outlaw came over, and he was talking to him. He was like, "Hey, how you doing, officer? Blah blah blah." Because a lot of outlaws are OMGs. They're military. They're ex-military. So once you're military, they respect the uniform or whatever. But they them a law enforcement just don't jive. So I remember I'm talking to him, and I'm like, you know what? This is really weird, because I thought, OMGs, like, y'all can't stand law enforcement. He's like, nah, it's feds. Local's cool. It's just feds we can't stand.
Yeah.
And then he turns to his probie, and he's like, I want something to eat. And he's like, what do you want? He's like, I want a hot dog, mustard, ketchup, relish, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And the probie went it, got it, bought it back, and gave it to him. And then he was like, give me something to drink too. And the probie went back, got it, and bought it back. And I'm like, yo, this is a grown man telling another grown man to go get him a hot dog and fix it and bring it back. And that's just some of the perks you encounter when you're a police officer, because you're like, yo, he legit just ordered this guy to go make him a hot dog fully loaded, and he bought it back. And it's just amazing, man, the stuff that you encounter when you're in a uniform.
Yeah, and to your point, Darius Rucker. Remember, we used to have Darius Rucker played Hootie and the Blowfish, but so we had Charlotte Fest, we had Charlotte City Fest where we had concerts and stuff. I was a deputy at the time and doing off duty, and I met Darius Rucker, super good dude. He asked a couple of officers, hey, do you guys play golf? Come to Charleston, play golf with us, and a lot of these popular people, when you get them one-on-one, they're really good people.
They're really fantastic people, and a lot of them are painted in and a light that I won't say not deserved, but a light that it's not warranted.
You assume they have money and fame, that they're going to be snobs, but sometimes that's not the case. They're super respectful. And Brittany just brought up a good question. Of course, we're both retired
now.
What's the greatest achievement you feel left the force with? So I feel like taking care of my people as a sergeant. I worked hard. I did what I was supposed to do. I didn't cut corners. I worked hard, and I made sure my people were taken care of. And I would put my people over me. If someone had to wear one, a violation or something, or take responsibility, I would take responsibility. I never threw my people in the bus. I feel like that, I maybe had a positive influence on some of them. And I take pride in that, because I always said, if I ever get promoted, I'm not going to drink the Kool-Aid, and I didn't. And no one would tell you I drank the Kool-Aid, and no one tell you that I wasn't a hardworking cop. I was. I was out there in the as a sergeant, getting more action than 95% of the people in the district. So getting foot chases, initiating traffic stops, doing stuff. So I feel like it shows you that I rubbed off on some people and say, hey, if you get promoted, you don't have to sit in the office. You can still go out here and work and take care of your people. So I take pride in making sure none of my guys got severely hurt. We would get hurt, maybe a couple of my guys got bit by dogs or pepper sprayed or hurt during the riots, but we all went home to our families. And that I feel like that's my biggest achievement. Is number one goal is we go home. If it comes down to it, fuck this place, CMPD, our job, but our main focus is family. We go home, family, and then the department. And that's where we played. Family first. We'll go home, family first, and then the department. But take care of your people. So what about you? How do you feel?
My greatest achievement, and you'll understand this, driving home from visiting my wife's people in Greenville, and I get a phone call, and I look.
Not Brittany. I'm sorry.
Bethany. And I look. It's okay. And I look down at my phone, and it says Sergeant V. And hearing his voice, like I was smiling. I'm like I had a Cheshire grin, and that was my biggest achievement, was that when I left the department, I had relationships that last a lifetime. Some people leave departments and nobody cares, nobody calls them, or they got a reputation like, hey, so and so left. Oh, fuck him. I hated him. He was a jerk. Like,
shit, I was at V's house a few weeks ago when he called you. He called you. We were trying to tell a story. Like, let me call Blue.
And that feels so good, because you want to be remembered for, number one, being safe as a police officer. Number two, always having your people back. And number three, never being a liar. Those are the three things I took very personal. And that's why whenever anything went down, I felt great pride and achievement when people would say, like if somebody was to say, like one time I was in an IA hearing, and he was Major Smathers then, but his ugly ass is no longer there. He tried to call me a liar, and it was a person in that that knew me, and they was like, I know Blue. One thing he is not is a liar.
Yeah.
Like, he will tell you the truth, even if that means he's going to get his ass handed to him.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I prided myself in.
Having the integrity and doing this job, and knowing that people, I did what I was supposed to do. I did my job. I backed people up, and I leave with my integrity. I didn't do, I didn't scream anybody over. I didn't stab anybody in the back. I took care of the citizens, and I don't have any regrets. And a lot of people don't know you got hit by a car, dude.
Yeah, like, and it's so funny for all the stuff that I took from The job also took from
Yeah.
me. It took my health. It
Mm-hmm.
took my mental health. It took my physical health. But I would do it again in a
Because
heartbeat.
you got
I
knocked out.
wouldn't change
Would you
anything.
got like
Yeah, 2012. Another
that's
great story. Well,
tell me what
great now.
Ranky and I think
Wasserman.
uh
Was it Wasserman?
it's close. Uh,
But there was two officers was on a traffic stop. They got hit by a drunk driver. Very bad, like very bad injuries.
they were messed up.
They were messed up pretty bad. So we had to block off the highway and all that stuff. And it came across radio. They was like, hey, we need an officer on the bridge to block off the bridge. I said, I'm in route headquarters, put me at the bridge. I go to the bridge, and there was an officer. He laughed, me and him laugh about it now to this day. But he was like, I'm already here, Blue. I pull up beside, he's like, I already got this. And then I'm like, all right, well, I was like, headquarters, send me somewhere else. This was already taken. And they're like, hey, go on 77 or whatever. Um so I go on 77 or whatever, and I blue light sirens, everything. And then I get struck by a car. And the
Were
last thing I remember
you in the
was
car when you got hit?
I was in the car, traffic vests on, lights on, everything. I was looking at my phone. The next thing I know, boom, I was struck by a car. Next thing I know is, I kid you not, I'm waking up to the doctor. Um I don't know what he was trying to do with his finger, but I guess he was trying to check me to see if I was going to the light. But I woke up, and next thing I know is the chaplain is standing over me. My wife is standing over me. The chaplain is standing over me, and my captain is standing over me. And I'm looking at them like, yo, what are y'all doing
My
here?
dad.
And
He
they're
was
looking
like, is
and
this?
they're looking at me like, what the hell are you doing here? So I'm looking out, and they're like, oh, it was the chaplain, the captain, Chief Monroe, and my wife. I'm sitting there, right? And I kid you not, this is what I'm talking about, humor, fantastic humor. I'm sitting there, um, butt ass naked. My wife is crying. She kissed me. The chief tells me, you're gonna be all right. The chaplain's like, it was touch and go there. You wouldn't wake up. That's why the chaplain's here. My captain leans over, and she's like, Mr. Blue. I'm like, yes, ma'am. She's like, why do you have them little ass drawers on?
That's
And
faultless.
I'm like, I don't know. Nobody's supposed to see my little ass drawers. Why am I in my little ass drawers? And that's when they proceed to tell me, they was like, hey, you got hit by a drunk driver and you wouldn't wake up. This is the first time you've woken up since you got hit by that driver. So
12
I
months
was
ago.
out.
12 months. They were like, you've been out for 12 months.
I was out the whole time. I was like out. So I can laugh about it now, but man, yeah, I was hit by a car, almost walked into the light, and my captain leans over and asks me, why am I wearing little ass drawers? So
Yeah,
that was,
did you see the light? Did you see like looking up at the ring
I
light?
don't remember. I had like terrible
Or did you see
concussion.
fire? Did you see fire? I mean, you probably saw.
I don't know what. All I know is I was looking at
Like,
my
shit's getting
phone,
hot in here, man. What's the on fire?
and I woke up, and then my wife, she wasn't answering her phone, so Officer Dunstan, I can't remember. I remember they was like, anybody know Officer Blue wife, how to get in contact with him? He 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 contacted her through Facebook Messenger. He's like, hey, call me. And for some reason she was up and she checked it, and that's when he told her. And then they had sent a rookie to drive her to the hospital since she was pregnant and she couldn't drive at the time. They didn't want her to drive. How about she knew where the hospital at, but the rookie didn't? But this is the great thing about CMPD. Like when it's time to help family, like it's like it's no other unit, and there's no other job besides the military where you
Yeah,
pick each other up
Yeah.
by the bootstrap. What do you need? What do you need? What do you need me to do? I need you to go pick up Officer Blue's wife and drive her to the hospital because he's not waking up. That was what was told.
Yeah, and I had an incident where I was first on scene as a sergeant. It was a PI accident at 45 and 77 where they joined towards Pineville. I got there. The car's overturned. There's a body laying 40, 50 feet from the car. I assumed the guy was dead. It's an ejection. I look over. The body's not moving. I figured he's dead. I'm looking at the car, see if anybody else is in it. The lady comes up and is like, "Hey, this guy, I think he's military. There's guns and a army bag and stuff." I'm like, "Really? Maybe." And so I walk over, assuming it's a dead body, right? And I'm like, "Fuck, it was one of our vice detectives. He used to work Eastway. You know what I'm talking about?"
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, "Damn it!" I was like, and I've been with him and his wife eating dinner. Going out, having beers. And I was like, dude, you wake up, and I went to panic mode. And because he got ejected out of the sunroof, rolled over and he got ejected out. So on the interstate, and he was still alive. He's been shot. He was in the Army and took out, I think, direct fire from an AK-47 and then they got shot at, I think it was a sniper or something. But he was laying in the middle of the road and I thought it was a dead body, and I go over there and it was one of our guys, and I never, felt so hopeless. And I'm trying to I got in touch with Cardace. He said, "Hey, I need a number for his wife. Get some people from Eastway because that's the district he used to work over to the hospital. He's life threatening." I got one of my guys. I said, "You get in the damn ambulance. You give me updates and go with him." And I called his wife and like, "Hey, yeah, he's been in an accident. He's going to be okay, but I need you. Can somebody come pick you up?" And that was one of the worst feelings as a supervisor, even over being in shootings and stuff that I've had to do it because it scared me because I knew this guy. So, I thought it was a dead dude. How many of those do we get? I'm used to it. I hate it. You just you block it out. But as soon as you know that it's one of your people, and how close were you to, maybe 5 miles more per hour or a different angle, and it could have killed you. And that's stuff you think about, So thankfully, I don't know how he recovered. He recovered. He got promoted to sergeant. He's an awesome dude. But those things are scary, So not only do they affect you, but the supervisor who comes out there to check you and the officer that comes to you, what they have to deal with. And it's funny. One of the guys, I was notorious when I would make up words, so they would always make fun of me. They're right. They call it steppisms. They would write them on the board, So like I'd combine like 2 or 3 words together. But it was my birthday. This was like 2019. We had a search warrant for DEA. DEA wanted us to hit a house. So I'm like, I'm off. Supposed to go to dinner, but you know what? I'm not going to let my guys hit a house without me because if something happened, I would feel I'd never live it down. So I was like, all right, I'll go hit the house, do the search warrant, and then go home. Well, I was notorious for getting flat tires. I literally, just the 6 years I was in Still Creek, 7 years, I had probably like 15 flat tires. So we hit the house, successful. We get some dope, get some stuff. I'm on the way home to go to my birthday dinner, and I hit something. My tire goes flat, so I pull off the road. So I'm at like South Below on 45, and I get my jack out, and I start cranking up the tire, and the jack falls over. It is on an incline, so the jack breaks. Fuck. So I'm pissed off. I go get the spare tire. It's flat from my last spare tire that I didn't go to the garage to get. So I had to call Chuck, one of my guys, to come to change my tire for me. But they never. I did. So my jack was broke. My spare tire is flat. I'm just a mess, man. But they make fun of you and but it was.
You know what I used to do, and it used to piss one of my sergeants off. Like if I had a flat tire, I'm like, I'm not bending over and doing no flat tire in some weird ass neighborhood where I could get got. I will call Hunter Record.
Totally,
They will put their flatbed behind the tire, lift it up, 5 seconds, and I would give the sergeant the slip, and they would actually get mad and talk about it in roll call, like, "Don't be lazy like Blue and call Hunter Recker."
Like here.
Fuck you! Like I'm not no, like fuck you! Like I get it. I'm not about to change a fucking tire. Like one time, a NASCAR mechanic just happened to be at the gas station, and he saw me change the tire. He's like, "Oh man, I'll jack it up for you," and I use my power drill, and that's what he did. Like, listen, like we got resources. Use it. I know you trained us to change a tire, but that's in optimum situations. Like it's dark, it's Eastway, it's Eastway Drive. Like I'm not. Can you
No.
imagine me, a police officer at night, changing a tire while the zombies are behind them,
No,
waiting for
I can
them
see. I can
so
see
they can pounce?
the Officer Down Memorial page. Officer Blue was changing his tire and took 15 rounds to the back of the head.
Right. All because I'm worried about what a sergeant's going to think. Fuck you. Like, I'm not, no. Hunter Recker came, put that flatbed under that bitch, lifted it up, and the rest is history. I'm retired. You retired. We get to tell
We
the story.
survived.
And sergeant's probably still doing roll calls, salty as shit. Ha ha ha.
So what about? So a lot of people asked me this, and we talked about it earlier. Your favorite police TV characters? Like, what do you think the most? Like, how would you characters, or what show do you think is most realistic? If somebody's like, "Hey, what's a realistic police show?"
So
And
do
who's your
you
favorite
want
character?
my favorite character, or you want my favorite realistic police officer?
Give us both.
Okay. My favorite police character that told me that I can do this was Axel Foley. He was. You don't know.
Axel
Oh my
Foley.
God.
I'm nodding. Like, yeah.
Oh, Axel Foley. Okay, so when I saw Beverly Hills Cop, I was like,
Oh, yeah.
"Yo,
Okay.
I can do this. I can do this." Like he was a smart ass. He was funny. He broke protocol a lot, but he always got
Got
it
it done.
done, and he did it. Now, who did I end up being more like? Officer Winslow from Family Matters. Weight,
Oh, yeah.
height, shape in a uniform. That's who I ended up being a family man, being a cop,
Yeah.
trying to
He's a
juggle.
good dude, though.
Yeah, trying to juggle
Well,
family,
he
home,
played a cop in the first Lethal
Die Hard.
Die
Yeah,
Hard. Yeah.
yeah. But I wasn't him. I was Officer Winslow from Family Matters. I was the big old round teddy bear who, balanced being a cop and being a family man. So those would be my two favorite police characters of all time to me. Officer Winslow and Axel Foley. What about you?
What show would you say got it right? Do you have a show that?
Got it right as police? It would be Stabler. Officer Stabler from SVU.
Yeah,
Without a shadow of a doubt.
see that.
Because he was a real cop and he fucked up as far as emotions. Like
Yeah.
he showed that sometimes you want to crack a head or you want to get the bad guy, you want to take procedure just to the brink, sometimes
Gray.
over, if that means you getting the person that you want to get. So I believe Law and Order SVU absolutely got it right.
Yeah, so I
They
agree
got
with
it
you.
right.
So I would go with probably what planted the seed of me be a cop. This shows you how old I am is watching Chips. I used to love
Oh my God.
John and Punch, man, and they were they were riding their little motorcycle. I'd be on my little what do you call those 3-wheelers? Hot
Chips.
Wheels. Yeah, but and they would zoom in on the badge and the gun. And I was like, oh man, these guys are awesome. And so that kind of planted a seed for me to be wanted. I mean, from the time I was Big Will, so 2 or 3 years old, I wanted to be a cop. So that, and then probably I got two. So the Shield was pretty realistic to most point. Other than I didn't like they ended up being the strike team or what like street crime ended up being bad. But a lot of their interaction, you could tell this be written by cops. But the most realistic show is Southland. I don't know if you ever saw it. If you want to know what, like, literally, like, I watch that show sometimes and get chills, and
That was on for like a couple years, right?
yeah, I think it's like 2 or 3 seasons, but it's really accurate, and I kind of relate to the kind of the PTO older character, who's kind of salty and stuff, but didn't play any games, was old school, but they got it right, man. It's pretty realistic, and then a lot of the old timers say like Hill Street Blues was pretty accurate, but yeah, it's not the rookie people that have some of these Hollywood shows or movies. Just
do you remember the reality show? I think it was PTO. What? No, it wasn't PTO. But remember, it was on for like a year.
They had
where a PTO would train a younger officer. And I remember one episode where I realized they got it right. I'm so mad they only did 1 year of that show. The guy, he was training this officer, and he kept messing up a little bit, but he was like, this kid has the heart, he has potential, and he could do it the right way. And I remember towards the end, they showed that he went to a domestic by himself. A guy came from around the house, put the gun to his head, and just blew the officer's brains out. The rookie's brain. It was called Rookies.
Yeah.
It was the show. It was called Rookies. It was a reality show called Rookies. And he said, if it was a way that kid would have went, that would have been the way, because he just always wanted to help. He wanted to save people. And just that night, he felt he needed to go in that house. He didn't wait for backup. The suspect got behind the house and killed him.
And just reasons. Keep in mind. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So, the last couple of days, Texas had 2 officers killed. California had 2 officers killed. Last week we had 2 officers in Watauga County killed.
Mm-hmm.
Officer, getting killed or through the roof. And a lot of people, I watched a documentary one time. They were saying, how many officers do they get killed a year in line of duty? And they're like 10, 5, 20. And it's I think we're at 125 or so right now. So that counts COVID death. But we average between 150, 300, depending. That's a lot of officers. So
one is too many.
And I think we're in police week. Is it police week?
If it is, they're not going to be celebrating it, because that's not the flavor right now.
Yeah, but just keep that in mind when you come across an officer, man. It means a lot. Say, hey, thank you for your service. The stuff that you see and deal with as officers, man. That's what you don't come home and tell your family about. You don't tell them about the dead kid. You don't tell them about the guy's brains blowed out and you're stepping in them, in your boots.
Or the kid you had to drive to Pat's place because they're being molested by a family friend or a parent. It's
those are things that you just never talk about, and unless you're really going deep and you're talking to one of your buddies, and sometimes like you're talking to somebody, you're having a beer or something, and you start kind of opening up to another cop, somebody that understands. It's tough being a cop. It's not fame and glory. It's stressful. Most of the time, the administration throws you under the bus, but it's you have to do it for the right. You have to want to do this job, and I couldn't think of anything else that I'd have rather done with the last 21 years of my life than serve the community and do it proudly and be there for my people. So, I miss them. The big everybody's like, hey, you're retired. What do you miss? I miss the way the job used to be. I like being a cop. You can't be a cop anymore. And I miss my people, the people I worked side by side with, my team, my coworkers. That's something that you can't replace unless you're in the military or firefighter. I mean, because that bond, it can't be replaced. It can't be duplicated.
The isolation, while you're a police officer is crazy. So imagine the isolation once you're outside that. Like, I can't expect, like, my best friend, I call him my brother, is still a police officer. Like, We don't talk every day. Sometimes we go weeks.
Mhm.
That's just, but that's the isolation part about it because, as much as you don't want to talk about police stuff, you're going to end up talking about police stuff. and it's
Yeah.
just, the way it is.
You're passionate about it. So,
Yeah.
if you're a professional organizer, you're going to talk about organizing. If you're a country singer, you're going to talk about singing country music or whatever. So people talk about what they're passionate about. So if this is your true passion, it comes up, the frustrations and, you get with a group of guys and you're away from the office. What do? You talk about admin, how things were messed up, a call you went to, and it's hard to get away from. And that's why a lot of people realize when you get in law enforcement, your circle of friends kind of diminishes because you feel like they don't understand. So you start hanging out with people that you feel like they understand. So you kind of isolate. Not that you're assholes too. I got plenty of friends that are cops, but they don't understand, and you feel awkward when you're around a group of people, and they're talking, "Well, I had a stressful day. Stocks went down 2%." Like really, I didn't know when I was tying my shoes about to come home or not, or I had to go in and give CPR to a dying baby, or kick down a door to pull someone out from a fire, or get shot at, or not knowing if. But their stress level is different, so you tend to surround yourself with people that understand what your stress level is and what you deal with.
Yeah. Because it's just, that's the stuff that you're not prepared for. Like,
And they don't.
retirement is great.
Yeah.
Retirement's fantastic. Like, don't get us wrong. Don't act like, oh, they sitting there like they want to come back. No, that's not what we're saying. We're saying we miss the people and we miss helping people. But now that's why we're doing this podcast. We're trying to channel that into a different avenue to help people. And
Bring awareness and come up with
bring
solutions.
awareness to it. That's right. That's what you and I are doing. But man, this has been phenomenal as always. Like to thank everybody for joining us, joining me and Step. As always, you can find me at Real Prince Blue, Twitter, Instagram, Prince Blue on Facebook. And Jay, finally, can you tell the people where to find you without having an issue?
Fuck. All right, hold on. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I wrote it down. Hold on. No, so hit me up. Facebook. Dude, you said you would give me a heads up so I could look this stuff up. Facebook, I think, is Jonathan Steppe with an E. Who misspelled my name? Did I write? There's an E on the end of my name. Prince. Did you delete that? Where's the E?
No, that's yours, yo. I don't do that. You do that.
Somebody deleted the E.
You did it.
I can't spell my own name, man. What do you expect? I can't tell people where to go if I can't even spell my own name. There's an E on the end of Steppe. It might be Jonathan, no H. Facebook, I think I'm TOG4280 on TikTok and whatever other marketplaces or on eBay. I don't know. Look me up. I'm easy to find.
Oh my God, man. But if you ask him to undress an AR, he could do that with his eyes closed.
Yeah.
But
I can tell you some
he can't
case
tell you
law.
his own damn name.
Some
Can't
case law
spell his own
policy.
name, but can blind undress an AR and can recite CMPD policy front to back.
Yeah.
Ain't that about a bitch?
Yeah.
But as always, thank y'all for joining us. We'll be here again next Wednesday. Same bat time, same bat channel. And people, trust me, please. The logo is coming. The graphics are coming.
Facebook,
all that juicy stuff is coming. All that stuff is coming.
Facebook, editing.
That's right.
Lighting.
That's right. It takes.
Who we working? Who should we tell them who we're working with?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Cause we gotta keep them coming back for more. So you can't give it all to them now. You got to give them a reason to keep coming back. But trust and believe, this is something that me and Jay are taking very serious. We're taking steps to improve your experience with us. But again, we're not tech savvy, so we have to outsource to other people to help us with that. And those people are doing it. And I promise you, when we relaunch this bitch and separate it
Logos,
totally
Facebook,
from real time with
Instagram,
Prince Blue, when
links
we
to
separate,
sections,
yes,
everything,
when we,
editing.
yes, when we separate it from real time Prince Blue and it just stand on its own as 1018 behind the badge, man, it's going to be phenomenal. Just make sure y'all are there at the beginning so y'all could be like, yeah, I remember when them fools had echoes in their headphones and Step couldn't spell his name right. And we here now. They're on stage and they
Mighty
doing
issues.
whatever. They signing books, doing book tours, like whatever. Please, thank you guys. And please subscribe to the podcast. Um, anywhere you can Apple, Spotify, Anchor, Alexa, just say, hey Alexa, play
YouTube.
real time with Prince Blue. Hey Siri, play real time Prince Blue, and it'll play it for you. Please, if you have somebody that doesn't know how to do that, get with your younger cousin, brother, sister, somebody that's hip and know. Like, hey, can you subscribe to Real Time Prince Blue 1018 podcast? I don't know how to do it. Can you do it? Just ask somebody, they'll do it for you. Thank you. Leave a rating. All of it counts. Thank you so much,
Yep.
everybody.
Thanks for
And
everybody sending comments and questions to Gene and everybody else that's sending
yes,
their stuff. We love it. So
yes. Thank you so much, everybody. Be safe. We will see you next week. As always, I don't know.
what always is what?
As always,
We'll
I
see you
don't
next week.
know.
I don't know. Yeah.
As always, I don't know. All right, everybody. Talk to you later.